455 horsepower, over 40 miles of pure electric driving, 7 seats, as spacious as a parent-teacher conference hall, and one press of the throttle, enough to make you forget this SUV weighs more than 5,000 pounds. Nope, this isn't an ad. This is Car Cry, where we tear down every bolt, even if Volvo calls this Scandinavian luxury on wheels. Now, before I show you Thor's hammer lighting up like it's ready to call down lightning, let's get nerdy for a second. This is the 2025 Volvo XC90 T8 Plug-in Hybrid, 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in just 5.4 seconds. An 18.8 kWh battery gives you roughly 30 to 40 miles of electric range. Morning commute? Hit the button, drive it like an EV. Evening highway merge? Turbo kicks in, electric motor joins the party, and that sedan behind you just turned into wallpaper in your rearview mirror. And here's the twist. The XC90 PHEV isn't just an American thing. US, 73K to 81K, 30 to 35 miles of EV range. Canada, same deal, but it tows up to 4,850 pounds. Europe, pre-orders open, deliveries late 2025. And guess what? Australia, Japan, and even Southeast Asia could see it by 2026. Volvo's clearly going hybrid first before going all in on EVs. Now let me ask you this. 455 horsepower, around 40 miles of EV range, under 90K in the US. Enough to make BMW X5 and Lexus TX shoppers nervous? Drop your comments, Team Turbo or Team Plug-in, let's settle this. Because next, I'm going to show you why this XC90's exterior is so classy, your neighbors won't even need to turn on their porch lights.
This is the part where Volvo makes the entire neighborhood stop and stare. The exterior of the 2025 XC90 Plug-in Hybrid. From a distance, it's like a perfectly tailored cashmere suit on wheels. Not aggressive like a BMW X5, not flashy like a Mercedes GLS. Volvo just stands still, and somehow everything else notices. Thor's hammer headlights. Updated LEDs so bright they don't just light the road, they interrogate the sedan next to you. Pull up at night, and even your neighbors will squint like, who just brought that home? Wheels, 22 inches. Totally impractical for gravel roads. But who cares? XC90 owners don't go off-road. They go straight to the golf club. And the rear? Clean, boxy, and that Volvo badge? Just big enough to make anyone driving behind you whisper, ouch. Now, aerodynamics. Volvo didn't bother with six-pack creases like the Germans. They went flat, minimal, elegant. Drag coefficient? 0.32 CD. Translation? This SUV slices through air like a billionaire quietly walking into a coffee shop. No sound, but everybody feels it. Here's a detail nobody talks about. The hood is slightly lower than the previous model. Why? To cut drag and give you better forward visibility. Yes, this is a 7-seater SUV, but you won't be blind over the hood like in those oversized full-size tanks. Picture this. You park the XC90 next to an Audi Q7. Q7 flexes its giant grille like it's a 75-inch TV. XC90 just stands there, silent, calm. And if it could talk, it'd say, my lights are brighter. And yes, I know. So here's the question. Is this kind of quiet elegance the definition of true luxury? Or do you still prefer the brawny flex of a German SUV? Drop a comment. Let's see if Team Silent Luxury can take this one. Now, close the hood, because it's time to open the doors. And I promise, what's inside the XC90 isn't just an interior. It's a first-class lounge on battery power.
Open the door. And this isn't just an interior. This is a Scandinavian lounge on wheels. Nappa leather so soft, it feels like the massage chairs at a 5-star resort. Real open-pore wood, not that plastic with an identity crisis you find in some other brands. And the centerpiece? A 1.2-inch Google-powered touchscreen with Maps, Assistant, Play Store. Translation. You can run Spotify, stream music, and yes, even ask Google, where's the piano keyboard for Volvo's massage seats? But here's the part only tech nerds will appreciate. A 12.3-inch digital driver display showing battery status, hybrid power flow, and torque split between the front and rear wheels. Sounds geeky? Sure. But honestly, watching that live torque graph is way more satisfying than Netflix while driving. Now, about the seats. 7-seater version, second row slides and reclines like business class for people who don't talk about their income. 6-seater version, captain's chairs with armrests and enough space so you don't end up playing knee hockey with the person next to you. Audio? Bowers & Wilkins 19 speakers. Deep bass that shakes the doors but still refined enough to make Mozart sound like he's DJing inside your SUV. Of course, Volvo isn't perfect. Sometimes Google's system hesitates, like it needs a 5-second digital nap before switching playlists. But hey, at least you don't need to learn an entirely new interface like you would in a German spaceship. All right, Car Cry audience, your turn. Would you pick Volvo's minimalist Scandinavian calm, or are you still into spaceship cockpits with 200 buttons like in a BMW X5? Drop it in the comments. I'm taking bets. Because next up, we're talking about that 455 horsepower hybrid powertrain, silent like an EV, but hit the gas and the highway goes quiet for an entirely different reason. Welcome to the heart of the XC90, the T8 plug-in hybrid powertrain, where turbo and electric don't fight. They shake hands like two mob bosses dividing the city. Here's Volvo's no-nonsense recipe. A 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, paired with a 143 horsepower electric motor, for a total of 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. And if you're squinting, thinking, wait, a 4-cylinder pulling a 5,000-pound SUV? Relax. This isn't just any 4-cylinder. This is a 4-cylinder Volvo wrung out to its last drop of potential, then juiced up with an electric motor until it hits like a heavyweight, but sips fuel like a compact. Picture this. You stop the pedal, and this 2.5-ton condo on wheels rockets from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. Meanwhile, your neighbor is still cranking up their V6 SUV, engine roaring, and you only hear the air conditioning. Battery, 18.8 kilowatt hours. Real-world electric range, 30 to 40 miles. Commuting, grocery runs, school drop-offs, all electric, no gas. Forget to plug it in? No panic. The turbo engine kicks in. The 8-speed auto is smoother than butter, and AWD keeps it planted with that Nordic calm Volvo does so well. Now, here's the part that'll sting. Some BMW X5 owners laugh at Volvo's 4-cylinder, but wait until this XC90 T8 silently blows past them on the highway. That sound they hear? Absolute silence. And that's the sound of 455 horsepower and an electric motor slapping their ego. All right, Car Cry crew, real talk. If a hybrid SUV can match a V6 for power, but crush it at the gas pump, would you trade the engine growl for silence and savings? Drop it in the comments. Team efficient or team vroom vroom? Let's settle this. But strength isn't everything. Up next, I'm showing you why the XC90 isn't just powerful, it's so safe it might slam the brakes to save a squirrel. If power is the heart, then safety is Volvo's DNA. And the 2025 XC90 PHEV isn't just safe, it's so safe you almost feel bad for the competition. First up, pilot assist. Semi-autonomous driving that keeps your lane, maintains distance, and even gives the steering wheel a gentle nudge, like hiring an invisible chauffeur. But this is Volvo, so they don't brag about self-driving. They simply call it taking the stress out of driving. Classic Scandinavian humility that actually works. Next is city safety. It doesn't just hit the brakes for cars, it spots pedestrians, cyclists, even animals. Honestly, if you dropped a baguette in the street, I am 90% sure city safety would stop just to save the carbs.
And then there's the 360-degree camera. The resolution, so sharp you could probably count the gum stains on the sidewalk. Perfect for parking in those downtown garages that feel like a real-life game of Tetris. Meanwhile, Google Voice means you don't even have to touch the screen. Just say, "Hey Google, take me to the nearest coffee shop," and your XC90 not only maps it out, it'll queue up lo-fi beats for the ride. But here's the ultimate safety flex, Volvo IntelliSafe. This isn't just a feature pack, it's a philosophy. Volvo's goal? 0 fatalities in their cars. So if the XC90 can auto brake to save a squirrel, don't be shocked when it does the same for you. Now, car cry audience, picture this. You're holding the wheel and the XC90 is quietly scanning the road like a recon drone. What do you feel? Total peace of mind? Or a little creeped out by how smart it is? Comment below, team relaxed or team slightly spooked. Let's settle it. Because safety's done, now it's time for the heavy hitter, price. And yes, we're putting it head-to-head with the BMW X5, Audi Q7, and Lexus TX to see if the XT90 really holds its ground. And this is the part where everyone grabs a calculator, the price. In the US, the Volvo XC90 T8 Plug-in Hybrid starts around $73,000 for the core trim, climbing to $81,000 for the fully loaded Ultra. Canada, pretty much the same, just swap the dollar sign for CAD. Europe, a bit higher thanks to taxes, but still easier to swallow than an equally spec'd Audi Q7 PHEV. As for Southeast Asia, Volvo hasn't made it official yet, but if it lands there, after taxes and fees, you're probably looking at a number that'll make your wallet say, nope. And honestly, that's the charm of Volvo. You don't buy it to flex. You buy it so the whole neighborhood quietly wonders, wait, what exactly does this guy do for a living? Quick comparison. BMW X5 xDrive 50e, 483 horsepower, flashy interior, but prepared to pay extra for every little option. Audi Q7 PHEV, less power than the XC90, lovely cabin, but no native Google ecosystem. Lexus TX Hybrid, smooth, efficient, but drives like a sofa that learned how to move. And the XC90, it sits perfectly in the middle. Strong enough to please the throttle-happy crowd, efficient enough not to nuke your fuel budget, and understated enough to earn respect without saying a word. Now, car cry audience, vote time. Team worth every penny because you're getting hybrid power, luxury, and safety in one package. Or team wait for a miracle discount, the maybe if I wait long enough taxes will magically drop crew. Personally, I'm siding with the first team. Because Volvo doesn't do fire sale discounts. They sell cars the Scandinavian way. Quiet, confident, and absolutely not begging for your attention. Now, the final question. Who exactly is the XC90 PHEV for? And should you or should you not sign that check? So, finally, who is the 2025 Volvo XC90 Plug-in Hybrid really for? It's for the people who don't need to shout, "Look at me!" They just park it out front, and the neighbors go quiet. It's for the ones who want 455 horsepower, but are civilized enough not to bully every gas station on the map. And it's for anyone who treats safety not as an option, but as standard, like morning coffee. The pros? A hybrid powertrain that hits like a V6, but sips fuel like a midsize sedan. Minimalist Scandinavian interior, no flashy gimmicks, just deadly elegance. Safety, that's basically the industry benchmark. An EV range long enough for daily driving, plus fast AC charging support. The cons? Pricey, especially once you cross the ocean. Google's system sometimes takes a Monday morning coffee break. And if you're the type who needs a giant badge screaming your status, Volvo will disappoint you. Their logo is polite. You might have to lean in just to see it. But here's the thing. If you can live with those quirks, the XC90 gives you a driving experience that's luxury, calm, civilized, but still knows how to put the hammer down. All right, Car Cry audience, I want to hear from you. Is the XC90 good enough to make you ditch the X5, Q7, or Lexus TX? Or is this just the SUV for the quiet ones who've seen it all? Drop your verdict, because I have a feeling Team Turbo and Team Silent Luxury are about to throw down in the comments.
And if you like reviews that praise what's good and roast what's not, hit that subscribe button for Car Cry. Because next time, we might just call out a 90K SUV that still forgets rear seat massage.